Let's walk through some of the differences and similarities between a traditional organizational chart and an organizational scenario in Functionally. So on the left here, we have a pretty typical org chart with about 35 people. When we look at an org chart, we typically follow reporting lines and levels of management. For example, we can easily follow that Ritu is our CEO, Darren is our VP, and we have Richard, Navneet, and Mike here, who are all line managers. In Functionally, we can also observe this same structure. So again, we have our CEO, we have our VP, and we have our 3 line managers. Managers will always appear in this team manager slot in Functionally, and they have a little electric pulse symbol next to them as well. Another easily identifiable element in a traditional org chart are individual contributors. They're usually plotted branching off from a manager and with no further hierarchy beneath them. For example, in Mike's team, we have Arnold, EMEA, and a vacant position. Similarly, in Functionally, our individual contributors are listed within a team underneath their manager. There's EMEA, Arnold, and that vacant position. In the Functionally scenario, you'll notice that Mike is listed twice, both as the team manager and within the team. This is an important differentiation between a traditional org chart and Functionally, and we'll touch on it in a moment. One of the downfalls of a traditional org chart is it's impossible to see who does what and where work really gets done. For example, it's easy to see that the VPs, Rosemary, Carol, and Darren, each run one big team. But what's easy to miss is that those 3, along with Ritu, our CEO, all operate together as their own team. In this case, the executive team. In contrast, Functionally is designed to not only show organizational hierarchy, but also where work gets done and who's accountable for what. In this case, our scenario leaves no doubt that these 4 work together closely as a team. And while we clearly still see that Rosemary, Carol, and Darren are leaders of specific teams, where their work is actually done and where their accountabilities lie is here in the executive team. Speaking of accountabilities, let's give you a little sneak preview on one of the key differences in Functionally. By flicking to our accountabilities view, we get an easy view of what this team is accountable for. We can go even deeper than this, but let's hold that thought for now and revisit in a moment. Traditional org charts show people bounded within a single box, and they're not great for showing where people actually do their work. Functionally has been built to specifically map out where work gets done, and it's easy to show how a person may have different accountabilities within different teams. Let's take Navneet for example. She's listed within our operations leadership team, she's the team manager for our people team, and she also sits within the people team itself. This is indicative of the different accountability she has across different teams, despite what her job title might be. In this case, not only does she have accountabilities to the operations leadership team related to leading the HR team, she also fulfills a specific role within the people team itself. In fact, it's the same for the other line managers too, all who balance their leadership role with actual executional roles within their team. This is something that's almost impossible to pick up on a traditional org chart, but simple in Functionally. For even greater clarity, we can bring up this individual view for Navneet. Here, we get a view of the different accountabilities aligned to the different roles in each team where Navneet actually gets work done. In this case, the HR manager role in the operations leadership team and the compensation specialist role she also fulfills within the HR team itself. As we mentioned before, we can go deep into accountabilities and the activities assigned to each individual by flicking into Team View. Here we can view everybody in the team, their assigned accountabilities, and the activities related to those functions. So that's just some of the similarities and differences between a traditional org chart and Functionally. You can easily get started by importing your existing data from one of many of our popular integrations. Then use our collaboration features to work with colleagues to build your organization scenario. Start your free trial today from www.functionally.com.